Right, that should do it, and we'll start. With the sensation of the whole foot in your mind, noticing where the weight is. Bring the body over the feet, let the whole foot soften. All the muscles in the feet release. The weight goes to the ball, the heel, and the outside edge. Deliberately blocking up the chest and the back. Deliberately pushing up the crown of the head to stretch the body upwards with contraction. Once we've got that alignment, let it go. Let it go. Let things in the body start to soften and change. Feel the shoulders drop. Feel the lower back find its natural place of balance. It's really important to soften the lower back, soften the middle of the back, so that the different parts of the body can actually be free to change under the weight. Allow the weight of the body to press in, and those parts of the body need to be allowed to change. You don't want to end up holding the body, and it's really, I find it's taken me a long time to notice the difference between thinking I'm soft and being soft. Thinking there's change and fluidity in the body, and actually really allowing it to happen and feel. So the more and more I give up my weight to the ground, the looser I can become, and the more free inside I can become. And I don't think this is a finite thing. I think it's a continual thing that you're working with. Every new posture, there's a release that can make you looser. The alignment of the body enables you to be freer inside. We work with it in the standing posture. We're just going to go up and down. Under the feet and into the ground. Let the whole body flow with it. Like it's a column of water pouring through the body slowly. Under the feet, forming a great big pool under the feet. Let that pool bubble up from under the feet to the level of the ground and the surface of the feet. And as that water pushes up, the body rises with it. We're just working from the ground down and back from underneath up to the sole of the foot. We're not bringing our focus up into the body. We're going from the sole of the foot down, letting the body be drawn down with it. We're going from under the ground, about 2 feet under the ground, back up to the soles of the feet. Let it happen in the mind. Make sure the mind is sinking and the body follows. Don't just start the body pushing up. Let the mind draw upwards. Let the body join in. Let the mind dissolve downwards. Let the body join in. Draw the mind up, draw the awareness from under the ground to the soles of the feet. To generate the movement in the body. We want the body movement and the mind to start to function as one. When the mind changes or moves, the body follows it. Send the mind down, wait for the body to respond. Bring the mind up. See what effect it has on the body. Send the mind down. Draw the mind like a well rising. Into the beginning of the form. Sink down. Sinking onto one leg. parallel. First loosening exercise. Draw up to the soles of the feet. Release down under the left foot. Draw up to the sole of the foot while you open up. Draw down to the right foot under the ground. Back up to the sole of the foot as you square. To the right foot under the ground. Left foot under the ground. Back up to the sole of the left foot as you square. Try to establish that your focus or your intent to move the mind down comes and leads the body. Move the mind down. Let the body, give the body a pathway to move along. Bring the mind up. Initiate the movement in the body. Draw the mind down. Intention to sink. Intention to rise. You can't really say there's an awareness under the foot because you can't. Obviously, it's imaginary that we're under the ground. But as we give up the weight of the body, and the body seems to push its own weight into the foot and fill the foot, there's a different sensation in the foot. And we want to link this sensation of the body weight pressing the foot onto the ground. We want to link this body sensation to the idea that we're going down under the ground. So when we have an intention, the body sets itself up by letting go. When we have an intention to draw up, it's imaginary for sure, we're not really under the ground. We can't feel what's going on under the ground. But when we bring our mind back up, there's a change in sensation in the foot. And we want that change in sensation to be the instigator of a very small rebound through the body. We want that intention to be long and focused, so the body is taught to follow and continue releasing and not cut off the supply of release. We want the intention to be long over a period of time, 2 or 3 seconds, so the body during that period is encouraged to keep changing and keep releasing. We don't want the feeling of the foot to hit the ground. Stability arises, we stop changing. When we feel stability arising and the pressure in the foot, we keep releasing onto it. Generally, when we walk, we hit the ground, and as soon as we feel the connection, we change to a contraction to give ourselves momentum to move. So we stop the supply of releasing. As soon as we feel the support and the connection and the compression, we move against it, push. That gives us the lift into the next step, whether we're walking or running. But in this one, as soon as we feel the foot on the ground, we want to keep releasing into it. And change our habit. And do that by having a very strong intention downwards. We link sensation of foot being pressed onto the ground to the signal to keep letting go. All about signals. and encouraging the body, training the body to respond to a signal. The mind gives the body a signal. The sensation gives the body a signal. Changes in the body follow that signal. So I was doing some push hands last week in class. Can you carry on training? I was doing some push hands last week in class, and I was pushing gently into one of the students who'd been training for quite a while, and I could feel a letting go. I could feel a letting go. I followed them in. I followed them in. I could feel a letting go. Then all of a sudden, it stopped changing. And at that point, you know they're pushing back at you, and their center of gravity is balanced on you. I said to the student, what happened at that point? Why did the body stop changing? And they said something really interesting. They said, my intention to release stopped because there was like a panic because I didn't have enough room anymore to let go. And the intention to keep releasing stopped. The mind stopped. And so let's try it again. Let's go to exactly the same spot. But this time I'll really make sure that the mind continues to give you room to release, continues to give the signal to the body to change. And the yielding then was much, much more significant. I just thought it was really interesting. Just wanted to share that with you. That how important the signal and the mind and the intention is in Tai Chi. Because if we go in without any intention, or we go in blind, or we just go in listening, or it's a very different process. How the body follows what we do is a very different process. We need a very strong, clear message signal to the body, and the body's quite happy to follow it, quite happy. Whereas if we don't give a signal, the body kind of just does its thing, and its thing is generally to be more contracted than we need it to be for Tai Chi. Has anyone got any thoughts or comments about this process they wanted to share from their own practice or wanted to ask about? If so, please unmute. I'm happy to talk about it for a bit. If not, I want to bring these ideas into one or two of the postures. Good. Let's carry on then. When the body compresses, two things happen. In order to compress, there needs to be a softening. So the weight of the body can be allowed to drop. The weight of the body can be allowed to drop. When I just stand and I'm static, I'm balancing the weight of my body with my contracted muscles. When I change my contracted muscles, the body starts to drop. And that process can go on. When you change your contracted muscles, the body is allowed to drop. We want to find a place where we feel as loose as possible. It will feel different from that sort of loose. It won't feel floppy. Loose and softness are two words that really, I prefer buoyant instead of loose. I prefer the word buoyant because buoyant has an understanding that there's pressure contained within the system of the body. There's pressure in the body. So although change can take place, so take a ball like this, it's loose and it's soft and it's relaxed, but as I push on it, all the forces within the ball change all over the whole ball. And the body is exactly the same. Under its own weight, you know, this part of the body probably weighs more than half of my body weight. When this pushes into the hips, the hip joint changes to allow this in. The knees change to allow the weight through to the ground. The sole of the foot changes to allow the weight in. My alignment has to be good enough. My softness has to be good enough to allow the body to change, to drop. Master Wang said that everything in Taiji is contained in the up and down exercise, or the open and close exercise, whichever you prefer to call it. The same things that happen in this exercise happen when we move into, say, the push position, when we move into the push position. We need to be able to allow the body to fall into itself, to create buoyancy and compression. The movement is really small. Movement is really, really small, half an inch of movement. And yet the pressure changes huge. The body moves from being held to being very, very fluid. Okay? I'd like us to move into, take up the push position. You can have the left foot forward or the right foot forward, because we do both in the form. To pluck up chest, to pluck up back of the neck, to drop the shoulders, to allow the elbows to land. Now this is some of the way there. We need to soften the feet. Go down under the feet. As we go down under the feet, the whole body moves. Go down under the feet, the whole body softens. The whole body give up the weight of the body to the ground. Let the skeleton inside the body support you. Let the parts of the body adjust to the posture, to the now different weight and different forces that are playing through the body as you let go. You let go of the shoulder girdle, the way the shoulders sit changes. Fill the posture up and let it go. Just hold on to the idea of releasing and let the legs do the work. And you bring the mind back up from under the feet to the level of the feet. You want to soften the shoulders more and let that force be squeezed out to the fingertips. Just like you're squeezing on a big tube of toothpaste. So you sink under the feet and you bring it back up to the feet and through to the hips. Under the feet, back up to the feet. Down under the feet, back up through to the feet, to the fingertips. When you come back up, allow the back leg to lightly lengthen, very lightly lengthen. The result of that thigh lengthening from the ground mustn't throw you forwards, mustn't lift you. What's coming up is the force. Like the toothpaste When you squeeze the bottom of the tube of toothpaste, the whole tube doesn't move. The tube stays still. What's inside it comes through to the fingertips, down under the feet, back through. Stay centrally stable. If the hips, shoulders need to adjust as the leg extends, so be it, through to the fingertips. But don't let the whole external body move because you've moved the leg. Go through the form. You're going to bring this idea into the form. At this stage, the issue we do deliberately with a strong lifting of the mind to the sole of the foot, the expansion of the leg. What we want it to become is that we drop, compress, and rebound. Okay? So the dropping itself compresses the body, the stretched, compressed body rebounds. That's what we want it to become, but we will, for training purposes, we'll add a little bit to make sure that there's a definite expansion. Because sometimes when we compress, it just stops moving. We have to learn to find the way of rebounding. The way to do it is in stages. So when we come to postures like push, press, drop in, bring the mind up, press, sit back, give ourselves time to move to a posture where we can completely release, down under the feet, back up, push. Now it's going to be a slow form, and it's going to work the legs. Okay. We've just got to cross hands. We'll go up and down 3 times to begin form. The mind first, down under the feet, body follows right signal. Mind up to the feet, body lifts. Under the feet, sinking, the body follows. Up to the soles of the feet, body responds. It's time to start the form. Down under the feet. Continue under the right foot. Continue, sinking, sinking, sinking. Down under the left foot. Continue, sinking, continue, sinking, continue, sinking. Pull it back up to the sole of the left foot as you turn square. And release again, under the feet. And back. Turn. Under the left foot. Body follow and responds. Into the center, take your time now. Often when we move in, often when we change our physical posture or we change our weight, we don't fully change the muscles. So we want to make sure as we're moving in, we give time for the body to adjust so we find our best posture. We go down under the feet, the body compresses, we come back up under to the foot, the hands go out. With it, the back leg expands a little. Sink and find the front foot, turn down under the right foot. Remember, when we glide in, we often hold in the left hip. We move forward, we often hold in the hip, we often hold in the lower back. If we can, we soften with every single change of weight. We can, we adjust as we move. If we can't, we move in, find the posture, and then make the big adjustment. Under the feet, rebound. Move on to the front foot, turn anti-clockwise. Sink under the foot, turn clockwise. Step right. Remember, as we move in, we often hold in the forward leg. If we can, change as we move in. We make adjustments to every ounce of weight pouring in forwards. If not, we move in, turn the back foot and then change it. Under the feet, back up. And back up to the foot, expand the back leg and turn. Back down under the left foot. Turn up. Turn closed. Moving forwards. Change. If you can't change moving forwards, then move in and then change under the feet. Rebound, come back up to the sole of the foot. Back leg expands out to the wrists. Sit back. Idea of moving in. It's quite difficult to be aware of the tension we hold when we move forwards. Quite difficult to feel how we're not adjusting as we move in. So move in, find your best posture, then release within it. Under the feet, back up, expand the back leg through to the fingertips. Sit back. We move in. We often carry the weight of our body to the tension in the leg we're moving on to. If we do that, find a posture and then release. Under the feet and back through. Under the left foot, under the left foot, under the left foot, under the left foot. When we move in, we can carry weight in the front leg, so find a posture, then let go. Let everything slide down as your mind goes under the feet, comes back up, with a small push and a turn onto the front foot, go under the right foot, spiral up. Brush left knee twist up. Down under the foot, back through to the hand. Drop onto the left foot. Draw the foot along the ground, pick up the heel. Lift the hands as you sit back. Find the right foot going in. Give up with the body, let the body slide down. Push left knee twist up. Down under the feet, back through to the fingertips. Step back. Step up, deflect down. Under the right foot. Step left. Under the feet. Connect. Back up. Fold. Into the center, changing or moving, and then change. Down under the feet, back up, push. Down under the feet, and back. Cross hands. Finish the form there. So, slow form. Even though I'm saying every single time what to do, what you'll probably notice, if you're anything like me, is that your body just moves. And your mind, you don't initiate the movement with a release. It's something I've been working with for a number of years, working with Weekly Jin. He keeps saying, mind first, body second. set it up with the mind and the body will respond. But it's very, very easy just to go into the center and do something. You find the body's moving not by itself, but without being, you almost have to be super conscious of the fact that you're sending an intention in. So you have to really make sure you send the strong intention in the right way, make it really deliberate so that you can notice how the body responds to it. It's almost doing it too much in a way, doing it too intentionally, just so you can see what's happening. It's very easy to go a bit sleepy and just be lulled into the fluidity of the movement and just get kind of lost in the gliding of it. Okay? And if you notice that happening, that's why we do the form slowly. So you've got time to set the mind doing the right thing first and make sure the body's following. I just wanted to hear back from you, any feedback on how you find that doing form that way. If it's useful, if it's difficult, if it's hard to connect with a form in that way. Just kind of a bit of feedback so I know where to go.
It is difficult, but at the same time, sending the mind down below the feet seems to help with then expanding outwards. It's like there's a gentle expansion upwards without pushing you forward over the front foot, or so it feels. So it makes the part of the process easier by setting it up in advance. So yeah, more concentration required, but the effect is it makes the rest of it flow a little better.
Yeah, and hopefully, Toby, that level of concentration, once the body kind of feels the foot on the ground and feels the pressure of the foot on the ground, the body will start to, there's that signal I need to it's time for me to let go. Rather than that kind of strong kind of concentration of remembering what to have to do.
Yep.
That'll come in with the practice. So the stability you get from the foot pressing onto the ground is the beginning of your root developing. Yeah. And sending the mind under the ground is the signal that allows the rest of the body to use that softening onto the ground. Yeah, that's the way I see it. Yeah, good. That's good. That's good.
I think it exposes, and what I'm doing, it exposes where I'm just kind of pushing through from one posture to the next, where I'm just, I'm not sinking, or I'm perhaps, it feels a little bit uncomfortable, so I just move on, and I do that quite often, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think whenever we the word you use there, expose, uncover, whenever you look at something from a different angle, it will show you something different about what you do. When in a way we want to welcome that, even though it's uncomfortable, even though it's a little bit uncomfortable to see where we're not doing the form as we thought we were. The whole thing about Taiji is that there's actually nowhere to hide with it. It's quite a bare art form, because we can always see if we're really doing what we think we're doing, and then we've got a choice to ignore that or go deeper with it. But the journey with it is not necessarily comfortable. And of course, I don't tell my beginners that. They'll completely disappear. But by the time we're a number of years in, you kind of know that for yourself. You know that the art of it is to go deeper and further with it rather than just keep it superficial. Otherwise, you'd have left years ago as well. So we can talk about those things as a process. It's kind of where I'm interested in exploring my own training. So it's kind of how, and I know it's difficult to do the form slowly because the legs start to hurt.
but slow is good. Slow means you can't miss out anything. And the changes we're trying to find in the body are so subtle that if we go quickly, we lose the concentration, or we blur over them, or we, as you say, Jim, it's easy to miss them or to see that we're not doing them. So how to practice like this? I would practice a little bit like this rather than all the time. I do a normal form that you can enjoy, and you can find the movements and do the movements and get the feeling of the whole body connected. And then I do a little bit like this. Maybe, you know, one section of the form, or 3 or 4 moves, or one exercise where you just go really slowly and work with this. Otherwise it can get too yeah, I'll just try it and see. I shouldn't preempt how it can be for you. Good. Should we carry on? Anyone else got anything else to add? Good. Let's carry on. Going to do that section again. Maybe a touch faster. Three times up and down before we begin. Changing. Mind under the feet, the body changing. The mind up. Let the body respond. The mind under the feet. Body changing. Mind up. Body responding. The mind under the feet. Sinking down to both feet. So the right foot keeps sinking. While we move our left foot, keep sinking under the right foot. This is, don't stop and feel the connection. Keep the connection sinking. As we shift the weight to the right foot, the weight of the body has to almost double in the right leg. So you need to be fluid in the body. To do that, you need space for the body to change, which comes from sending the mind under the ground. If you stop the release and move the leg, you'll turn your body into a triangle that's this shape. When the changes in the body stop, the body becomes static. When it becomes static, all you've got is the posture you've got that's still, and it'll become like wobbly like this, like a pyramid that's upside down, triangle. We want it to be like that, with a big base. So when you start sinking and changing your weight from both feet to your right foot, there's a huge amount of change that has to take place in the lower back. There's a big amount of change that has to take place in the upper body. And to encourage these changes to take place, you have to loosen the body. And the space you get to loosen comes from sending your mind under the ground, so the body can flow down. We're just going to do the beginning move of the form. To both feet, mind under the ground. Keep the mind under the right foot sinking. Keep the awareness on letting the body be looser and flowing down. You don't want to start making deliberate changes in the body, okay, because they'll be out of time. If you try to make deliberate tucks of the tail or deliberate open of the chest, they won't be in synchronization with what needs to happen. All you can really do is loosen the body into alignment and let the body flow with the pressure it needs to support you in the right foot. You have to find the pressure that's needed to support you. The body has to flow into the right position to be able to support you and still stay changing. As soon as you deliberately try to manipulate the posture of the body, you'll either be adding contraction or you'll be doing it out of time. So it has to come from the continual pushing of the body onto the ground by its own weight. Both feet, mind under, continually letting the body go onto the right foot, step left. Pivot the ball of the foot on the ground and push it to the side. The sinking, the bottom of the sinking should arrive at the same time as the left foot arrives. Explore different speeds by all means, but explore a constant sinking of the mind down until the left foot touches. This is one of the hardest moves of the form, but right at the beginning, because the weight of the body has to come from both legs to one leg. You can't stop the changes in the body. You can't lean in order to balance. So you have to use a sinking to stabilize. Find yourself drifting over. Find your center line drifting over for stability. It's due to using the weight of the body to stabilize you, not the sinking. You have to stay in the center while you sink. Stay in the center. You can check that by looking through a window and beyond. And if you see those 2 points changing alignment, so the bar in the middle of a window or the edge of a window, you look through to the distance, and if you see those two coming out of alignment, it means you're moving across. Try and keep those two true while you sink down. Sink down. Make sure the first sinking is equal to both feet. Don't preempt it by starting to your right foot. The sinking is equal to both feet at the beginning, and then pouring it to the right foot, so the left heel can lift, pivot, and move across. The right leg continues to adjust to receive the weight of the body. Have a go with that a few times, please. Hardest movement of the form, without a doubt, for me. Even harder than the kicking section for balance. Hard because you think it should be straightforward, because the movement is very small, but the shift of weight is huge. You're moving half your body weight across to the other leg. So the weight is a big shift, but the distance that moves is very small. So that means that the subtlety of muscle change is easy to miss. If the body's locked in any way, if the body's held in any way, then you're just balancing on stillness, which we don't want the static quality of the body to hold us up. We want the fluid, buoyant quality of the body to hold us up. Good, let's move on. Sliding down the mind, body, the mind, body, the mind, body, the mind. across under the left foot, back up to the left foot, settle. This movement of the form. Leave the hands behind. Take the mind down. Feel the body dropping and following the mind down. Feel this change take place first through the torso and the legs. Let that draw the shoulders, the elbows and the wrists, sinking down to the bottom under the feet, under the ground, right through until the hands arrive. You don't want the movement of the arms to come from the arms. You want the movement of the arms to come from the mind sinking under the feet, drawing the body down as it gets looser, allowing the body to press into the ground, keeping space because the body's dropping, for the shoulders to drop. The body is like fluid liquid. If we create space, it'll flow in to fill it. Okay. We can create movement of the arms, but if we create space, shoulder fills to fill that space, and you get movement of the arm. So we want to feel when we do this movement of the form that we're at a lift going down and shaft under the feet, creating the space for the chest to soften, the shoulders to fill that space, the elbows to drop, the wrists, and then when the hands land and settle, we've reached the bottom under the ground. So that process of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 4 or 5 seconds of settling. The mind's going 1, 2, 3, 4 to the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4 to the bottom. The body is changing the whole time. Body is flowing down and releasing and getting looser and looser and looser the whole time, but it doesn't feel that loose. It's not like loose floppy. It's loose, buoyant, fluid, changing the whole time. We create the space under the feet for the body to flow into, and the body follows it. Now, if you were to do push hands with somebody and they're doing that, can't find them. Because when you touch them, your touch sets them in motion. Your touch sets them in motion. The classics talk about when the fly lands, it sets the body in motion. When the partner's touch touches, the body blends with the touch and moves at the same speed. So whether you're moving away from the partner through space, whether your body's moving away, or you're either moving away at the same speed as they're reaching out, and you're sinking down to receive that push into your ground. So your body's doing 2 things when you sit back. It's moving smoothly backwards, maintaining its stability. This neutralizes the partner's force. The partner touches you, and you sit back at the same speed as your partner's force. So it's as if you've got a piece of paper between the partner's touch and you can always slip that paper away. You never let their force land on you, so you can't pull that paper away. And they always feel that they're touching the paper. They always feel they're reaching out. It's like a £5 note. They're reaching out to grab it. It's not there. You can take it away at any time. Okay. They're reaching out to grab it. They want it. They want to push you. Mr. Nasty wants to push you. So you let them move in air. Sticking. Your movement moves at the same speed, but your movement also disappears under the ground. So while we're sitting back, I'm taking my mind under the back foot. My body is dissolving downwards and moving backwards at the same, two overlapping movements, one backwards, one downwards. So the first movement of the form, this way here, I'm moving away, turning and sinking downwards under the ground. The space I create lets the rest of the body flow into it. The space I create in my chest lets the shoulder fill in. Everything finishes here, holding the ball, with my mind that far under the ground. That's the point at which my mind reaches the bottom, is when I reach that posture. This hand stays where it is. Once I've turned my left toes in, I move to the left foot. This distance opens up, so this hand stays exactly where it is. This distance opens up. So as soon as my shoulder moves, my arm follows it, and it's drawn through to that position, onto the center line, holding the ball. My left hand comes around with the turning of the body onto the center line, holding the ball. One smooth movement, sinking. Let's do that from the beginning of the form, please. Under the left foot. Under the feet, to draw the body down, to draw the shoulders down. Keep sinking under the feet until the hands arrive. You're at the bottom. Rebound back up to the soles of the feet, fingertips. Turn the left toes in, move to the left foot, sinking, 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 turning, releasing, sinking. Finally, arrive at the bottom under the foot and posture at the same time. Try that movement, please. In the beginning of the form. This should start to expose, as you say, Jim, what movement you're doing and how you're doing it. In a good way. Once you've got the ball, once you're holding the ball and all the weight's on your left foot, then you sink in. You either move it, sink and let go under the foot, rebound through to the hands, or as you're moving in, body's changing and adjusting to the weight coming into your front leg as you move in. So you're going down and underneath as you move in. Rebound back up to the feet, through to the hands. Okay, good. You can check your postures. You can check your postures by using the wall. If you hold your ball, just hold the top of the hand against the wall. If you sink underneath, if you let go of your body, if you make sure your body feels full but released, and then you expand the back leg as your mind comes up to push you off. The expansion of your back leg has got nowhere to go. Normally in the fall, the expansion of the back leg will come out like the toothpaste will squeeze out through the hands, or if there's a partner there, the toothpaste will squeeze out into the partner, into their posture. The wall's not going to go anywhere. So when you expand the back leg, that force that's coming up has to go somewhere. So it tends to destabilize you and it throws you off the wall. But to do that, you need to first fully drop, compress, bring the mind back up. Try it against the wall and it will check your postures. You can do it with other postures of the front push. Very, very, very light with the fingertips on the wall. Release the whole body down. Let it be very fluid. Bring the back foot up. It'll throw you. It's a really good, like a litmus test to see if this posture is connected in the center, released in the center, and then the force that comes back up will go through the connected body. Very good test to posture test. Good if you can work with a partner to do it, but the wall is excellent because it doesn't mind how much you train. Train all day long, the wall's not going to bother. And it's going to give you the same reading every time. Okay, it's going to be a really good partner for you because it's exactly the same every time. So how you are, if you change, it'll give you exactly the same type of pushback. But it's a good friend wall. Yeah, just make sure your hands are clean and not greasy, sweaty. You won't damage the wallpaper. No, seriously. It's a very, very good practice. Make sure when you're sinking in that you're not supporting yourself. There's no weight on the fingertips, so the whole body can be loose and change. Slow down, connect, and back up. That's the force you want. If you don't feel it as a force that throws you, start to feel the expansion in the leg pushing into the increasing the pressure in the fingertips. At least feel that much. That it comes from the foot through to the fingertips. It's not coming from the arms. The arms are connected, but the push from the foot is coming straight through to the fingertips. Good. Okay, we're going to leave it there for tonight. I'm going really into the kind of some of the nitty gritty of the kind of like looking at how we release, looking at what the rebound is, and that's what we'll kind of focus on for a while. the whole body changing, flowing down, the whole body letting go in order to create different pressures in the body. That's kind of the main focus at the moment. Have a good week. I'll get the recording out to you as soon as possible. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Luke.